Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to give a few more minutes for other people to join because I know some of us are running late and it's a Sunday night. But can anyone let me know if you can see the first slide?
Yes, sure
Perfect.
can.
Thank you so much. Okay, so just a little bit about me and why I decided to do this. So I have 4 daughters. I am a UCF alumni, and I was a UCF cheerleader for only 1 year, and a member of the Zeta Tau Alpha Sorority. So
can someone
I had,
tell us how to find the slides?
I'm sorry?
I'm not able to see the slides. I just see the letters CM. Can anyone help me figure out how to see the slides?
I don't know what device. Everyone else can see the screen I'm sharing, though?
Yes, and it's also doing the narration.
Transcription?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, I can't really help because I don't know how to help with that aspect of it. But I am recording it. If it doesn't turn out terrible, I might share it. Like I said, I'm not a UCF person. I'm not a registration person. I'm just a parent. So 2 of my girls are currently attending UCF, and I went to the orientation last year. I did not attend it this year because I figured I had gotten all the information that they had to give and experience under my belt with my daughter last year. But one of the things that came up quite frequently with the girls and people in their orientation groups was the registration process for classes. And it was overwhelming, and especially if they're business or computer or engineering, which are the bigger colleges, they just don't have as many advisors for the kids. So like my daughter this year is business, and she said there were approximately 80 kids and only 3 advisors. They did have the orientation leaders in there, but the orientation leaders were told specifically that they can only show them how to use the scheduler and the shopping cart. They can't help them decide on classes. So that was a big deal. And thankfully, I had heard that from the parent group that there was an issue with the kids getting help in the business department. So I had helped her load her shopping cart with classes that we thought would be good fits for her. And we didn't really know what we were doing. And so we've kind of learned some things. And so that's where this is coming from. My daughter was very anxious and nervous and stressed by the time it was said and done. And I hate to see that for kids when us as parents really just want to like help them get started and then kind of push them to do it on their own. So I'm going to start by, I just made some slides of the different screens and we'll just go through those. So the first place you want to help your student is the sign into the My UCF. They should all know how to do that by now. It looks like this screen and they just hit this sign in page. Everything pretty much is from this portal. And then once they get in, this is the main screen that they see. And a couple of things I want to point out are here, the degree audit. You see it in the black on the right hand of the screen. It has the My Night audit and a graduate plan of study. I've never touched the graduate plan of study because I don't have a graduate student, but the My Night audit is something that we're going to talk about. So the first thing that the kids will click on will be this student self-service. And this is pretty much where they're going to go for almost everything that they're going to do. And when they click on it, it pulls them into this page. And in this page, the place that we're going to go next is the My Academics section. You see it there with the arrow in the middle. And you're going to view the night's audit. And I brought you here, it was there on the front page, but I brought you here just so you can see some of the other things on this screen. where they can create a what if scenario. They can view the transfer credits that come in, because from what we've heard from a lot of people at the orientation was most of those kids came in with AP or dual enrollment courses already. And so this will show them what has come over and what's the equivalency at UCF. And then they can also view their current course history, what courses they've taken. And then the next screen is, once you click on that, you get this screen, and it'll show what their academic major is. And they just need to hit submit. And one thing I want to mention is we have found that this portal does not work very good in Microsoft Edge. It throws an error message for us. I don't know if it's just our machine, but it works pretty well for us in Google Chrome. And so that's what I suggest you use. And then the other thing that always struck me as odd is over on the right-hand side, when you click something, to see that it's actually doing something, there will be like a little round thing that pops up over on the very right in the white that's kind of like turning, letting you know that it's working. Otherwise, it just kind of sits there and you're like, what's going on? So this is the night audit. So this basically tells you if they have met the general education requirements and all the courses in their major. And then it will show you within it whether it's satisfied, because you can see these top ones here say satisfied. And when you first come into it, it'll be dropped down if there's a portion that is not satisfied. And that will show you what classes you need to be looking at for your student. And so that one is kind of super important as far as like figuring out what classes they need to take and kind of in what order they need to take them. So you can only have one of these screens open in one browser. So if you used a different browser and then had it open like maybe in incognito mode and like we're able to like look at various screens to help you plan out the schedule, I found that was helpful. But the next thing we're going to look at is the Pegasus path. And my daughter told me they just kind of touch on these things. They don't really like show them how to find them. But maybe it was in the orientation slides, pre-orientation slides they had to go through. But my child just doesn't read them. And probably that's typical of a lot of students. I don't know, maybe there's some really excited ones that are going to analyze everyone, but my kids just kind of like blew through them. But once you click on the Pegasus path, this is what it looks like. So this is kind of where you plan out what your next 4 years are going to look like. So within that, you can edit the terms. So if you my daughter's taking 6 units this summer, and then the plan is 15, 15, 15, 9, 15, 15. She's not going to need all that because she's coming in with almost her AA degree, but that's kind of the standard I think that it comes up with, and you can edit them. So if you know your student's going to take summer in 2025, then you can add that term in and how many credit units they're going to take, or remove one. And then when you scroll down on the same screen, it'll show you what courses they're recommending that you take in each term based on your major. So this is very helpful when planning out the next 4 years, what they need and what classes are coming up and in what order they need to take them. And then the next thing I want to point out is their student email. So everything at UCF from this point forward is actually going to be done in their student email, and it can be found within this portal. So just there on the left-hand side, they just need to click that. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because there is some orientation email messages that go out to the kids to get them ready for orientation. And as I mentioned, my daughter is business. So this was really important for her to read because she is a summer admit and she's already into her business accounting classes. And one of the things that stood out for me in this message is that the College of Business does not offer any fully online courses. So for us, that was important because we're not planning to have her move to Orlando in the summer. She was just going to take some online classes to get that admittance to the college. And she has the 75% Bright Futures. So to have Bright Futures cover that, she has to take at least 2 classes. So the plan was to take 2 classes online. So I just wanted to point that out because your student might be getting something like this from their college, telling them some specifics for their orientation and what they can't take. And then there's some tasks list here. So they would fill out this expected credit survey, immunization paperwork, and if they're planning to change their majors. There's some other little things that it takes them to the Canvas. And if your child has done any dual enrollment before, or maybe their school does it, they might be familiar with the Canvas, but that's going to be on the next slide. So let me go in. So this is what the Canvas looked like for UCF for the pre-orientation checklist that my daughter did. So this is all the tasks that she had to complete and submit. And this is where they get the academic advising. So if they go through all this and they have to do it at least 2 business days before their orientation date, they will get a response back from their advisor on what their advisor thinks that they should register for. And so I wanted to show you, this is the email that it'll come back, and it says UCF web courses. So it's kind of confusing. So the kids might, just blow by this email message and not think it's important. But it is important because this is where they would click to see what their advisor's comment is. And in that comment for my daughter was what courses she needed to take. Now, we didn't find this until after we had already done orientation and registered. And so that's why I really thought it was important to point this out, because we completely missed it. But her advisor then told her within this comment back on Canvas, these are the courses that she suggested she take. So she suggested that she take a general ed 6 section and a general ed 11 section. And then for fall, she suggested she take 3 within her accounting major and another elective. And then she gave her some alternatives for summer or fall. And that SLS 1501, that is going to be the catch-all alternative for anyone that can't find anything to register for or everything's full. That's kind of like their getting to know college, how to research class for everybody. So it wasn't ideal for my daughter. She didn't really want that. She didn't want to waste the time and money on a class that wasn't towards her major. So this is the important sheet. So I put the link on where you can find this sheet, and you can just Google it too. UCF General Education Program Worksheet 2425 is the one you want. And so this is what I really wish they had focused on with the kids, is explaining to them how to utilize this sheet. For kids that are in like elementary education, what's another smaller college? I'm drawing a blank, maybe nursing. Well, nurse is probably a big one too. But you'll notice like when they split the kids out by their major, like some groups are much smaller and some groups are really large. Like the smaller groups, like if your child is in a smaller group major, criminal justice is also under education, they will pretty much get one-on-one attention from their advisor. Because the 2 times that we've seen in that particular college, one, it was like there were 5 students and 3 advisors, and the other times there were 7 students and 3 advisors. So they didn't even need this filled out. They held their hand the whole way. So things that I want to point out here is you'll see each section that's in black, there's 5 of them. Those are the major sections. So there's requirements within each of those sections, but the thing to point out is you see the little black diamonds. Like in that first section, it's JEP 1, English 1101, has a black diamond. The black diamonds are the required classes in those sections. So for the first one, that's kind of like an easy one because everybody's going to take 1101 and 1102 and probably then one of the ones in 3. But when you go down to historical and cultural foundations, you'll notice that in JEP 4, Humanities 2020 is the only diamond class. But then down in 5, you've got 3. You've got Enjoyment of Music, Introduction to Philosophy, and Theater Survey. Now, there are other things that count towards this section that aren't in here. So like my daughter took American History 2010 and Art History 1000. According to her Pegasus Path and Night audit, those count in this section, but she hasn't completed this section because you have to have a diamond in either 4 or 5. So if she had Humanities 2020 up in the top section 4, then she would have been able to take any class she wanted in 5, and then down 6 says you need another class in 4 or 5. So she could have taken anything from there on out. But if she took World Civilization 1 in section 1, then she would need that diamond in section 2, whether it's, philosophy, enjoyment of music, or theater survey. Does that make sense? Anyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Very, very helpful.
Okay, good. Yeah, so that's for each section. Like Mathematical Foundation also has like the 7 and the 8. But as long as you take one of those diamond courses, you can take whatever you want. Social Foundation is the same thing, like 9 and 10. If you took General Anthropology, you could take ECHO 2023 and be just fine. You wouldn't have to take a diamond class. So that's what the diamonds mean, and that's really important because we didn't realize that. And so we had signed up for, I think, like film or something like that because she thought it sounded interesting, but she didn't have a diamond. So we had to go back and try to find Introduction to Philosophy is what she ended up trying to get. So have that planned out before you go. And what I did with my daughter is I just put X's through the ones that she currently has taken in her grade. And then I put little O's in the ones that she was interested in signing up for. And if you're doing summer, maybe put like a summer or a fall, kind of have a plan in place, because going by this sheet is a lot easier. They tell the kids to bring their laptops for day 2, but business department didn't let them use their own laptops. They made them use the computer there. So that took much longer. There's something beeping. Does anyone else hear that?
Michelle is the one who's making that noise.
Oh, it
It says they're raising their hand or something. I don't know if that's why.
Well, if she's raising her hand, Michelle, would you like to say something? Do you have a question?
Hi, this is Christy. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for doing this. My call dropped and I missed this last part of the presentation. Talking about the diamonds.
Yes.
So for example, in historical and cultural foundations, you have sections 4 and 5. Are you saying only one diamond course for both of those sections needs to be completed?
Yeah. So if you completed Humanities 2020, you took the diamond in that historical and cultural foundation, and then you would need 2 additional classes, one from 5, and then another one from 4 or 5.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Any other questions on this sheet before I move on? Okay. Okay, so if you're not sure what is required for your degree, The place to look is just do the degree search on UCF, and you can find whatever your degree is from there. And then within that, you should have either view full description, or in the accounting one, it was view all accounting courses you'll take. And that will give you a full list of the classes and in what order and what are the requirements for that major. Like the business department, you have to take certain classes even before you're even admitted into the business department. I don't know if the others are like that. Education wasn't like that. Criminal justice wasn't like that. I didn't look at engineering, so I'm not sure. But that's important to note. You know, are there some required courses that they need to filter in? And some of them give you like an idea outside of the Pegasus Path or Night Audit, kind of how a typical student would get through that major with the courses in order. So the next part is actually building the schedule. So this is where you would go to start putting together the schedule. Now, you can do this now. The classes won't open until 3 o'clock on day 2 of your orientation for your student to actually enroll. But they can start looking now and adding them to their cart. So we're going to go with that. So you're going to click on the My Schedule Builder, and then it's going to open up this screen. And I found this screen very confusing. And some other people did as well, so I hope I'm not the only one. But you click on the Open My Schedule Builder, and again, it's got that little round thing in the corner that you're going to see, and this is going to open in a new window. And here's where it goes. So it's going to ask you to choose which term you're looking for, and then you're going to hit Save and Continue. And let me see. I have this up, so see if I can give you guys a live demo of this. All right. So when you hit Save and Continue, a couple things to note is this first one, course status. You can change only open classes. You can do open full with waitlist open, or open and full and no waitlist. So I would start obviously with open classes only and see where that gets you. We needed to find things with waitlists because after the frustration of registration, by the time she was done, the classes she thought she wanted were already full. And because we didn't know to look for the diamonds, we had the wrong classes. So the other next thing is the location. So depending on main campus, we were specifically looking for online, so this is the only thing we had checked. But if your student is main campus, or if they're at one of the other campuses, downtown campus, you can select those campuses just to make sure you're viewing those courses only. And there's instruction modes. We didn't use that. I mean, everything was selected. I don't think she really cared. She only needed online for summer, and then fall she wanted in person. And then here's where you select your term. So this is also, the session. This is where we select the session. So this is also important. If you're a summer B admit, you want to make sure that this is the only session that is checked off when you're looking for summer classes, because again, we made the mistake of not unchecking these others, and we're looking for classes that she could not register for. So once you do that, it will narrow down the search. And then you want to go to this Add Courses in the middle of the page. And the cool thing about this is there's a couple different ways you can search. So you can search by subject if you know specifically what you're looking for. You can search that way. But you can also search by that Pegasus planner. So if they gave them set things to look for, like it's telling her that she needed to take these in fall 2025, we could look for these specific classes. And you can click the little info thing to get more information. Or you can search by attribute. So if your student needs, cultural and historical foundation courses, you can look for, 4, And then it'll only give you the ones that are available. So we have specified that it has to be online and it has to be in summer B. So these are the only ones that it's giving us that are available. So it won't show you things unless they're available for you to select. And as the business email said, not all business classes for her were actually available in summer. So that's a lot of classes are only available in certain terms. And then you can also search by instructor. So we did a little bit of both. We searched for some classes. And then once we had the class we thought she wanted to take, you would add the course. And when you add the course, it pops up over here. So then it's gonna transfer back to the next screen. So I would go through here, look for all the courses that you want to take and add them. And then once they're all added, then you're going to go back here and you'll see them listed under courses then. And so once they're listed under courses, you can again view the course detail with the eye, but you can also choose options. So once you hit options, it pops open this screen, and this is the only class that it gave us options for. But when I hit the eye, once I'm in here, it tells me that there are 5 on the wait list for this class. So this is a full class, but it's already got people on the wait list, and 5's not such a bad number. And then it shows me which ones are closed. It's, just not in the plan or for some whatever reasons, I don't know. But you can do that for each of the classes. And then if there's, I'm trying to find if there's more than one. So if there were like multiples, like this one tells me the instructor, like my students then would go to the rate my instructor and look for the reviews on the instructor to see what they thought of them. Let me see if this maybe has more. Oh yeah, so this one has more. So yeah, we went through and looked up the instructors, and then we can see, how many are on the wait list, how many are still open for this class. And don't worry if your student finds a class that's on waitlist, because they're only opening a certain number of classes for every orientation. So if you have a late July orientation, there should still be classes for you to select, because they're only opening up so many seats for each orientation to make sure that everyone has a chance to register for classes. And then people are going to do what we did, come in after orientation and start messing around with the schedule and drop things and add things. And other people do that. So if you're on the wait list, then you'll have a good chance of getting into the class, even if it's in that first week still of school starting. So I wouldn't stress quite yet about it. Just go ahead and choose some things that are waitlisted, and maybe choose a little bit extra classes, and just you can then drop them at the add drop deadline. So this is how you would check, again, which classes you want, and you would select them. And then once you have the professor and the class, time, whether it's online or in person kind of thing, then you're going to choose generate schedule. And when you choose generate schedule, it's going to give you a couple, sometimes it'll give you multiple options to choose from, but in our case, we don't have much to select from. So then when I hit view on that, it's telling me what classes are what. And if I had multiple schedules, there'd be up here next to the shuffle button, there would be a next. So I could go through and look at each of these schedules. And I just want to go back 1 second. In these, you can also choose, like these are all online. Maybe if I change it to fall, I can show you a little bit better. No, I can't remember. But there was a place where it told me I could select which time. So like I knew my daughter wasn't getting up before 9 o'clock in the morning. So like I automatically kind of went through and we got rid of anything that was early and just took it out of this. And once you back to summer to get it done right. Oh, maybe if I try spring. No, we'll go back to summer. Okay, so when I go to view, you see, once I've figured out what she wants and I've narrowed all the classes down and they're all in her view, then this is that send to shopping cart button that first screen kind of pointed out and said, this is what you do. So once you've created the schedule, then you do the send to shopping cart button. And then this screen basically closes out. Wait, does anybody have any questions on that one? That's really the confusing part. Oh. Okay. So once you've sent your chosen schedule to the shopping cart, the next portion is the enrollment. So this is the part that they're going to do on day 2 after 3 o'clock. So they're going to come in here and they're going to hit the enrollment button. And then they're going to click which term. This is the first area that it's going to send them. And they're going to click which term they want. So for some reason, my daughter started with fall. So she got all her fall classes, but summer was more difficult. So you click the term and then you get sent to hit continue and you get sent to this screen. And this is where if you had stuff in your shopping cart, which I don't at the moment, but if I did, there would be something here that says import shopping cart. And this is where you're going to pull in all those classes that they just put in their schedule builder into here for enrollment. So it's going to pull them all into here. And then it's going to be like, click next, continue, continue. You're going to agree to pay all the fees once you enroll. And that's really it. And then they're enrolled. So that part is super simple. So if they have all their classes selected and they're okay with maybe 1 or 2 being waitlisted, and they've pulled everything in, then they're really, it should be very easy from there. But one of the things they're going to have to check is at the orientation that they're going to have to go back into that schedule builder and make sure those classes are still open because they fill up super fast. So that's why it's important to already have what you want, and then you can quickly import it in and move to the enrollment step. So what
Cari,
happens? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you suggest having a full class and then still adding yourself to a wait list just in case
Yes.
you can't get off the wait list? Okay.
Yes.
So getting all of your 15 credits in there and scheduled, but then being on the wait list for the classes you really want?
Yes. And that's a great question because that brings me to the swap. So have all your waitlist classes and then have the ones you're stuck with in your enrollment cart. And then once you've enrolled for all those, so in this case, we've enrolled for what, 12 hours? This is summer, 12 hours of summer, because there's 2 that she kind of got stuck with that, again, because we didn't follow the diamonds that she doesn't really need or want. And then the ones that she needed were already waitlisted. So we added them, and then this is the step to get it to automatically, if you get pulled off the wait list, to automatically swap those out. So you would go back we're into the enrollment side, and you see at the top, it says, this is the drop withdrawal, but then it has this swap. So you would want to click swap. And let's see if I got that one. Yep. So once you hit swap, you have this first box where you can select from your schedule the class that you don't really want. And then you would select in the with this class box, search for either a class that you've already pulled from your shopping cart, or you're going to, enter something and look for something here, but I would already have it in my shopping cart. And then you choose that, and then you just hit next, 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 and again, go through the kind of enrollment thing. And it basically says, do you want us to text you when we've pulled you off the wait list and into your class? You say yes. And then you just wait and hope. So if they do get pulled off the wait list, and if 5, 6, 10 kids on a wait list really isn't much, in my opinion, because so much changes, that they are likely to get pulled into that class, and then it will automatically remove the other class. So that's how you handle the swap. And then the one of the last pieces I want to talk a little bit about is, because I see questions all the time about that, is where do you find the statement of charges and what you owe? So again, we're back on that main Student Center self-service screen. This is kind of the jumping off point for everything they're going to want to do. Right here under My Account, you see View on My Account, Fee Invoices, Statement of Charges, and Student Direct Deposit, Tuition Payment Plan, and the 1098. So the fee invoice, you can choose which term, and it'll show you how much you owe. And it should show you the estimated Bright Futures or estimated financial aid or estimated loan dollar amount off of that, and then what you're going to owe. And then the statement of charges I found more helpful because it was like a detailed like PDF list of those charges. And then it listed the Bright Futures. In our case, it's kind of funny, but a little panicked. We had an additional $4,000 on our summer because mom dropped the ball and did not fill out her Florida residency piece. And so it was showing us as being out of state. So I quickly went and did that. And now we have to wait a couple of days to see if that actually comes on over. But the other piece that they reiterate to the parents during orientation is make sure you set up the direct deposit. Because if you do pay, because there are deadlines that you have to pay, and if your Bright Futures is still kind of like waffling and not showing estimated, if it shows estimated, you're good and you should just pay the bottom dollar amount. But if it doesn't show up quite yet and you're expecting things to show up, you might have to pay the full amount and then be reimbursed by Bright Futures or whomever your other financial aid is. I don't know. So then if you pay the full amount, having the direct deposit already set up means that you don't have to wait for the university to cut you a check to reimburse you the dollar amount. They will send it back to your checking account for you via direct deposit. And then the last one there is that tuition payment plan. If you needed or your student needs a payment plan, that's where you would find it to create it. So those were the important things. Let me see what I've got on the next slide. Oh, yeah. So here's that fee invoice screen. That's what that looks like, where you select your term and you can view the account and the statement of charges. Oops, and I'm going to go back one. The other thing I wanted to point out is the My Night Star. The My Night Star is the advising link. So that's where you would go to set up an advisor appointment. When I clicked that for my daughter that is just now going to be a freshman, there were no appointments available and there was like nothing that popped up. So I don't know if that's not something that'll pop up until she actually starts summer B term. But my other daughter, who's going to be a sophomore, hers has tons of appointments where she could actually do an advisor appointment now if she wanted. So there's availability, and they're remote, they're virtual appointments. My daughter likes to go and visit her advisor in person, but they can do it via like a Zoom setting or this type of setting, and they'll go through all of it and tell them what are good courses to take and their recommendations. Like, you don't want them to overload. I've told my girls that just 4 classes in fall is enough for that first term, and then I expect them to do 5 every term thereafter. But I feel like 4 is enough being away and all responsible and for everything. But that's just me. So that's it. Somebody else pointed out that there is Advisor Amy on YouTube. She has some really great videos on how to do all the different processes. And then I already talked about the My Night Star for the advising link. And the other thing I'm going to back up on screen is the housing portal and the scholarships. So the housing portal, again, can also be found from here, but the housing portal is its own separate login. So once you would click that housing link, then you'd log into the housing portal, and that's its own separate little like messages center too. So that's where they're going to drop the message to the kids about their appointments and roommates and I don't know, anything else really related to housing until they select housing. And then the other thing that I thought was really cool is the scholarship application. Like, there's tons of scholarships that the kids can continuously apply for, and it's linked right here in their portal. So they just have to be willing to put in the effort. And that is it. So now I'm going to open it up to see if anybody has any questions or if there's anything I didn't cover or you want to ask me.
I have a quick question. In the very beginning, I kind of I've been jumping on and off in the middle of something else, but you had started out talking about that your daughter got an email from after she finished the orientation checklist. And
Yes.
in the email, the advisor gave her some suggestions for classes. Can you
Yes.
talk about that one more time and where that email came from? My daughter did finish the orientation checklist, but did not get that email.
So it came from Canvas, and that's why I wanted to point it out, because it was really kind of weird and we didn't see it. We completely missed it. It would have been nice to know before orientation, but we didn't see it.
Yeah.
So this is what the email looked like. It said UCF web courses. So it was like a comment, kind of like hidden. You see it on the very bottom where it says Olivia Reagan just made a new comment on the submission.
Okay.
I wouldn't even have thought to check that, but when I went through her email, I was like, we had to have missed something. We saw this, and then when I clicked on it, it brought me to this, and this is where I see in the comment she told her what to take that she needed for summer and for fall.
Okay. I think we need to go back and check Canvas.
Yeah, and maybe you don't have one yet. Maybe they're waiting until closer to the orientation. I don't know when it. Well, I guess it says it popped up May 26th, I guess, May 30th. So she submitted May 26th and it popped up May 30th. And our orientation was last Thursday, Friday.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of this.
Sorry. I use Canvas for work. I'm a teacher, and I know that you can actually link to where your Canvas goes to your most frequently, any Canvas activity or notifications will automatically go to your more commonly used email, and you can have that set up to where it sends you as soon as anything happens or once a day. But you can go through Canvas settings and have it send to your more regularly used email a message that something is waiting for you.
Okay, that's cool. And the kids are supposed to use that UCF Outlook email. Like, we're trying to train them. I don't know if this is generation, but I'm always like, guys, did you check your email? No, they never want to look at email. I'm like, it's not coming on Snapchat. I'm sorry. Anyone else have any questions?
Thank you, Cari.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have to add. Hopefully it helps you guys at least guide your student a little better than I did this time around, and make it a little less confusing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Super.
This has been wonderful.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.